Psychological violence in female friendships is a lot more dangerous than physical violence or someone who directly sabotages your plans because it goes unnoticed for a very long time. And if you are not strong enough to remove yourself from situations like that, by the time you realize it, your friends, your frenemies, fake friends have done a lot of damage. It's important for you to assess your friendships and understand if they're healthy, because the way women make friends and the importance they put on friendship and the impact that female friendships have on them is much greater than people realize. Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Shudon Pofu. I'm your personal emotional intelligence detective. Welcome to the Fit with Shudo family, where we go beyond physical fitness, striving for mental and emotional fitness. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notifications. Today, we're going to talk about psychological violence in female friendships. It's really important for you to take heed on this topic because it affects a lot of women. I've seen a lot of people sharing their female friendship trauma and them realizing that this trauma was very significant, more significant than they thought it was. And today we're going to address why it's important for you to assess your female friendships and make sure they're healthy. The most confusing thing about fake friends and frenemies is that instead of hating you from afar, they choose to come as close to you as possible, and then they try to destroy you from the inside. It's a type of enemy that is the worst kind of enemy because you don't even realize they're an enemy. You think they're your friend. They're with you when you're fighting your overt enemies, when you're tackling life's problems, and when they do you dirty or say something, you ask yourself, of all people, how could it be you? But what you didn't realize is the person was already an enemy from the very beginning. The best way for you to learn to recognize people who are capable of psychological violence is to understand what their values are. You need to understand what all your friends' values are. If you can't say with your full chest, if you can't promise on your name that you know someone wouldn't do something, then you don't know them well. People like to say we are defined by what we believe in, but a person's true character is defined by what they won't do. So if you don't know what it is your friends wouldn't do, it means it's time for you to start digging and understanding what their values are. And this does not mean you take people's word for it, because anyone can say anything. We all know the people who like to say, I'm not fake, I'm not this, I'm not that, are usually the ones who are fake and doing those things. So you're going to need to watch actions and not words. It doesn't matter how long you've known someone. In fact, those kinds of friendships, if you're friends with someone who's toxic, can be dangerous in the sense that you won't see it coming because the foundation of your trust is based on how long you've known the person. A lot of the friendships you made when you were young and you're still friends with those people, you're mostly friends with them because of time. And this is why you sometimes have day one friendships crumbling in your 20s, in your 30s. When big things happen, it's because your friendship, the trust in that friendship was based on time, knowing each other, right? And seeing each other grow. But you didn't then assess the values to see if you're still compatible in that area. So, as you assess someone's character and values, here are things you need to look out for. I'm going to start with the most simple examples, and then we're going to have more complex examples. The first one is comparing. You need to pay attention to whether someone is always comparing themselves to you or comparing themselves to other people or comparing other people against each other. It doesn't matter if the people are present. You have to pay attention to the way someone talks about other people. Are they always saying this person has this thing that's better than that person, or I have this thing that's better than that person, or why does this person have this? Because the way someone compares other people or themselves to other people is what they're doing to you. They might not be voicing it and saying it to your face, but that's what they're doing. So they're in secret competition with you. And when someone is a chronic comparer, they are more likely to be a danger to you. If there's an area in your life where you do significantly better than them and they can't catch up, you're just gifted in that area, or you have had more experience, so it's going to be hard for them to catch up. That's when the psychological attacks start. That's when they try to breed doubt into you so that you slow down on your dreams. And it will be worded as concern, or some people could even give you backhanded compliments. Because you've known this person for a while, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and you say, oh, they're my friend. We've been through all these things together. They definitely didn't mean it in a wrong way. But you're not realizing that you're dealing with someone who is competing with you and is trying to bring you down a notch. If you're exposed to this long enough, you eventually start to think less of yourself. This is why it's dangerous and why it's important for you to understand who you're around. Because we always mirror the people we care about, the people we want to fit in with, the communities we believe we belong to. We mirror people in those environments. So sometimes someone might not even say things out loud, but the way they phrase things, their tone, their body language is signaling that they don't think you're all that, they don't believe in you, or they're not happy for you. And you start to take in all of that and embody that energy towards yourself, towards your work and your dreams and your life and everything that's going on. And that can affect the quality of your life and the trajectory of your life. Something you need to pay attention to is how you feel around someone. Do you always feel uplifted? Do you feel like they're supporting you? Do you feel like you can achieve your goals? Do you feel like you can get out of negative situations if you're going through a tough time? How do you feel after speaking with someone? Watching and reflecting on your interactions with people is an easy way for you to see how they're impacting you. It's an easy way to spot when someone is going out of their way to create negativity in your life. There's some people that if you go to them with your problems and you're sharing because you think they're your friend, you can leave that conversation, that phone call, feeling 10 times worse. People don't realize that a lot of the things that happen in your life, it all starts in the brain. This is why I say psychological violence is worse than physical violence, because someone doesn't have to punch you for you to have a terrible experience. They just need to put an idea in your mind. They need to make you feel less than. They need to make you feel like you don't have value. All they need to do is affect the way you view the world, affect the way you view yourself, and it can cause a domino effect in your reality, in the way you're living your life. It will affect your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health even. This is why it's really important for you to be aware of how you feel around certain friends. Do you feel empowered or do you feel disempowered? What sort of conversations do you always have around them? There's actually this tactic. It's when someone feeds negative ideas into you by telling you a story of someone else who is somewhat similar to you. For example, I'm a content creator. Let's say someone was hating on me and they wanted me to feel like what I'm doing is not important. They could tell me a story of another content creator and even mention she's in the same niche and then start insulting that content creator. Someone has tried this on me and I immediately stopped hanging around them. I'm sharing this with you because there are people who are very calculative, and this is why I'm always saying watch your day one friends. Because you were nice to each other when you were growing up, but you don't pick up on the toxic traits they might have because those tend to be muted when you're in your adolescent years. They come out when you're now grown-ups and people are more strategic about how they treat other people. So you might think it was random. Someone was just sharing a story about another content creator, but there are people who actually go out of their way to think, let me insult this content creator who does work that's parallel to this person so that I can indirectly insult them. And even if your conscious mind doesn't pick up on the fact that the person is insulting you, your subconscious mind will. This is why there are videos of people who listen to music that has nothing to do with them, and then they start crying. Music that has insults directed at someone else, and then that person listening to the music starts crying. So you really need to be careful of how people make you feel, the things they talk about around you, and the intent behind what they're saying. Another type of frenemy, fake friend, is the nice, nasty woman. You need to be careful of these kinds of women because they word their nastiness as advice, concern, a compliment, but they're also indirectly putting negative imagery in your head. How they do it is this. Your conscious mind can process one thought at a time. Your subconscious mind can process thousands of thoughts at a time. Your subconscious mind is picking up more than your conscious mind is picking up. So if someone gives you a compliment that is founded on negative assumptions, which is what nice, nasty people do, your subconscious is going to pick up on those negative assumptions. So people who are nice, nasty, what they're actually doing to you is they have negative assumptions about you based on your looks, your background, your intelligence, your past experiences, and then they will give you a compliment, but you can tell there's a layer of something negative, and it's coming from that negative assumption that they already have about you. The problem with situations like this is you're not only taking in the compliment as it is, your subconscious mind is taking in the negative assumptions. And your subconscious mind is informing your self-concept based on what you allow to continue happening around you. So if someone has these negative assumptions about you and you keep them in your life, your subconscious mind could eventually accept those assumptions because you're exposed to someone who has this persistent negative outlook on you or a characteristic that you have. It's really important for you to spot people who are nice, nasty, and keep your distance from them. Keep your distance from fake friends and frenemies. Keep your distance from people who like to compare because of the impact it will have on your mental health and your emotional health, your psychological health, the beliefs you hold about yourself. This is really important. People don't realize how important this is, so I want to stress this. Let's think about your early years when you were 5, 6 years old and your parents said something negative to you. 20, 30 years later, you still believe this negative thing that was said to you. Why do you believe it? Because at that age, you couldn't reject what you were hearing. You took everything you were hearing as truth, and your subconscious mind took it as truth. And whatever your subconscious mind takes as truth, you take that into your adulthood. You believe that. It becomes a core belief. In adulthood, your subconscious believing something is a little bit different. If something keeps happening on repeat, or you're surrounded by people who have certain beliefs towards you or certain opinions, repetition is what will get your subconscious to believe it. Consistent exposure to an idea is what will get your subconscious to believe it. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. And you will start to see events that confirm that belief. The reason why you see these events is you're surrounding yourself with people who don't like you. And when they don't like you, they also spread their dislike into other people. through saying negative things, smear campaigns, playing victim, triangulation. And so now you have a bunch of people believing an assumption that one person had, and eventually you start to believe it because everywhere you go, people believe this assumption. This is why it's important for you to be aware of the people you're around. And if they're negative and you haven't done anything to them, you haven't done anything to anyone, they're looking down upon you based on the way you look, your background, anything about you, a characteristic that isn't even negative, you need to distance yourself from them. Everything you do in this life, your well-being, your physical health, mental health, emotional health, the quality of your life, the opportunities you go for, the career you pursue, all of those things are affected by your psyche. They're affected by your psychological health. This is why I was saying psychological violence in female friendships is more dangerous than being hit. Because when you're hit, you can see the marks, you can feel the pain. But with psychological violence in female friendships, there's a lot of plausible deniability. If you try to call it out, the person is going to try and label you as being too sensitive, not fun, can't take a joke, bad sense of humor. It is this plausible deniability coupled with being gaslit when you try to call it out that leads to these toxic situations persisting for longer because friends want to believe the best of their friends and they give them the benefit of the doubt. It goes on and on and on, and they're feeding all of these negative things into your mind just by being around them. The things they say about other people or the things they say to you, it can chip away at your self-esteem over time. And if you're not strong enough and willing to take on those labels so that you protect your boundaries and your mental health, you will cave in and you'll be gaslit to believe that you're blowing something out of proportion when you were right in the first place, that this person was trying to attack your psyche or attack your self-esteem. Another reason why it's important for you to clear your social network of women who are toxic and psychologically violent is this. A lot of women, we get our intimacy from our friendships, from our family relationships, and then there's the romantic side of things. We put a lot of weight into our female friendships, and they aren't very strong guidelines when it comes to what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate in female friendships. And so a lot of things can go unnoticed. Someone attacking your self-esteem can go unnoticed because it's very easy for someone to say, oh, I'm just helping you out, or I'm just giving you advice, I'm being honest as a friend. Whereas if a guy, for example, that you're dating were to say some of those things, it'll be very clear that, oh, this is abuse. So you really need to be careful, and you need to understand that people are grown up and they always know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. They know it's mean. So you need to understand that we as a society need to raise our standards in terms of what we tolerate in female friendships, because a lot of the self-esteem issues that people have are coming from these friendships. Some of them may have started in childhood and then they got worse with these friendships because you're friends with frenemies, you trusted them, told them how you feel, and then they start feeding on it. Or they straight up became friends with you because they didn't like something about you and they want to bring you down on purpose. That's it for today. This is a very important topic. Make sure you're assessing all your friendships and understanding, are they healthy? What are this person's values? What is their character? Are we still good friends? Check for toxic behaviors like comparing, flat energy, nice nastiness, self-esteem attacks, fake concern, and make sure if there are people like this around you, you remove them from your life immediately. Next week, we'll be talking about dating, safety tips, things you must always keep in mind when going on dates, especially with men. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notifications. My name is Shidon Pofu. I'm your personal emotional intelligence detective. always keeping it real. See you next time.